There we are.
Hey, guys.
Hey, good evening.
We're keeping our fingers crossed. Please, please, please. We're hoping this orange bar doesn't come up saying low network connection.
Don't jinx it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Last Wednesday, help me, Hannah. We had so much difficulty and y'all were so great. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Hey, Lori.
Hey, Lori.
We're so excited that this is working. We hope it's working.
Sissy.
Hey, Sissy. Hey, guys. Jeannie McAvoy.
Hey, Jeannie.
Hey. Oh, my gosh. Long time no see. All right. So, just so y'all know, hey, Valerie, we'll give just a few minutes for everybody to kind of pop on here. And we are excited to do this segment. This is something that has kind of come out of the fact that Jean and I are old. And we've been doing this a long, long time. We said combined. Jamie's so sweet. How was New Orleans? Jean, how was New Orleans?
Short and fast.
Short and fast. But it was good. We had a great time. Thank you for asking.
Isn't that what you used to call me? Okay.
So we had a great time looking at finishes and
Antiquing.
and
eating. And driving. And eating.
We had a lot of fun.
Yes.
We really did.
Yes.
So thank you for asking. We did get inspired to make some new finishes. I told Jean, I was like, anytime I'm able to go antiquing and stuff, the first thing I want to do is come home and practice finishes.
Play.
So it's been kind of crazy because we've been literally selling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kits out of a maker studio. So my studio space has been filled with people
Kidding.
So, sorry. Got my squirt bottle because there's animals getting up on, you can hear them? Oh, you can hear them. Oh, when people are packing. Yes, we did a Facebook Live earlier today and they were packing. It was funny. So, Jamie, we love NOLA too. Yes, we're excited about that. So we're just praising God for the fact that you can hear us tonight. This is a praise. Okay, so what we're doing, we have some questions on here that the powers that be have given us that we need to answer. And so I know, Linda, it's so great. Hey, the dogs.
I'm sorry. Sorry, apparently one of them's in heat and the other one's obliging.
Go out and come back in. Sissy, why? Why do you want us to go out and come back in? Is the sound okay? That wall behind you. The wall. Okay, we're being really ADD. The wall behind us is a mural that is done in our kitchen.
By Where's Francis?
By Where is Francis. You can follow her on Instagram. She is amazing, and we have weird taste. I have weird taste.
I like funky.
Funky?
Electric. Say that 3 times.
So we love original art, and somebody asked the last time, this fish painting behind us is actually a wait, who painted it?
Trina?
No, that's, Jean. Oh gosh, this is what happens when you get old.
I'll go look at it.
Hey, Lauren.
Crispo.
Yes, it was Crispo. And those are quince. They're actually a English fruit. So a lot of people ask about that. So, but what we like to do on this Wednesday night is we answer questions because between Jean and I, we have about 65 years of finishing experience. And
I'm not that old.
You're not that old?
No.
But combined.
Yes.
Combined.
Okay.
So because a lot of problems with when you have finishing problems or if you're restoring a piece of furniture or things that you run into, you can ask us and we'll help you because this is what we've done. Mm-hmm. Jean refinished furniture long before we met. And there are things that happen with it that when you're restoring a piece, things pop up or idiosyncrasies about it or whatever that we can help you answer those problems. Help answer those questions. You're thinking.
Solving issues.
Solving problems. It was funny right before we went live. Jean goes, is this Ask Amy or is this Ask Amy and Jean? He said, you're hogging the camera. So we had to make sure that we were in perfect position. All right, so question number 1. Tate Makes us think of our friend Tate. Tate Cantrell asks, when using gold leaf with a cracked patina finish, like on the bench from your collection, is that the last step?
Well, depends on what you want to do after that. But if the gold leaf is the final step on your finish, then keep in mind that leaf is an actual, they call it Dutch metal, which is an imitation gold, and it will tarnish over time. And you want to seal it. So the best way to seal it is with wax. If you use wax, you can use our clear wax, you can use the beeswax, you can use the
Light
antique wax, and that will seal it so that the leaf would not tarnish. But if it's left unfinished or unsealed, it will tarnish over time. And that may be a good thing. You may want it to tarnish and look aged.
So those of you, if you're not familiar, we have some videos on YouTube. As far as cracked patina, you can do a cracked patina finish in a monochromatic color. So a lot of the pieces that we did in the Amy Howard collection that this person is asking about was usually done in a tone-on-tone black with a cracked patina, and I have a video on how to do that. And your gold leaf would be the last thing that you would do before you actually waxed it, and we would recommend waxing it, especially if you're working on black. I would say add a little bit of dark on to tone the gold down. Add a little bit of dark wax to tone the gold down. You can always use steel wool on gold leaf, but you never ever. What do you
Spit in
never?
the wind.
You never use sandpaper.
Oh, true.
You never use sandpaper on gold leaf.
But why are we using steel wool to begin with?
To wear it down
To
a little
wear
bit.
it down. Okay, that.
Right. Okay, Lisa has a question, and we'll just answer it really quickly before it goes up into the abyss. As far as I'm planning on using cerusing wax on my kitchen table. I painted the table brown years ago. What product do you suggest to strip it? After stripping it, do I put the cerusing wax on top of the bare wood, or is there a step in between stripping and cerusing? I hope I make sense. You make sense, Lisa. So, Lisa, do you know what kind of wood your table is? Do you happen to know what kind of wood it is?
And another question would be, as far as the cerusing wax, are you just wanting to have kind of a liming or pickled look? If that's the case, then yes, you can use the liming or cerusing wax, either one. Cerusing is a more liquidity form of the liming wax. The liming wax is a little
He gets
thicker.
all these fancy words that I would never think about saying, just FYI. That's really good.
Okay. But as far as there are some paint strippers out there at different hardware stores that are more of they're a safer form.
Like a citrus strip.
Yeah, like a citrus strip, or some of the other ones that don't burn the hands. But keep in mind, they are less effective than the ones that are very strong that would have a tendency to burn your hands if you don't use rubber gloves. So it's a trade-off. The more environmentally friendly is a much longer reacting product than the other ones.
So we've used citrus strip and we like it. So you could strip it with citrus strip. And so the answer to your question is, as far as the cerusing wax, is that all you use? Yes, the answer is yes. The cerusing wax is a combination of calcium carbonate, which is chalk, and a carnauba wax, which is a hardening wax. The longer it's on, the more it dries, the more it cures, the harder it gets. And so that's why when you find pieces of furniture like antiques that have a wax finish on it, they're as hardy as you would have on something that had maybe a varnish finish. A lot of people don't realize that. The longer the wax dries, the more hardy it becomes. All right, so Sandra has a question. She wants to know Hey kids, you're a kid.
Goodness.
Love that. Okay, thank you. Mwah. Sandra says, can I come live with you guys? I just have so many questions. Seriously, are you doing any finishing classes in the spring so I can vacay at my friend's house near Memphis and attend one? And what about veneer that has curves but no real detail? No other real detail. Can you patina, milk paint, or wax, give an old world finish to it, or can you sand it and use better with age with cerusing wax or liming wax? What would you do?
Oh, wow.
What would Amy and Jean do? First of all, if you can live with a cat, a Great Pyrenees, and 2 Cavaliers, and just come on.
Also known as a menagerie.
So just come on. To answer your question about our finishing class, we have one planned for January. We do one time a year, and we have one planned. We have not announced the date yet in January.
Yeah, she hadn't even told me about it.
Well, we do it every year in January. We've been kind of watching out with COVID as far as we want to make sure that we are distancing. We'd love to have a vaccine first. And but we will be having a class in January, and then we need to answer her question.
Okay. No,
Do you want to answer that?
Well, I've got ideas, but you're a designer.
You go first. You go first. It's about veneer primarily, and there's no real detail to it. Mm-hmm. Sandra, I would personally like to know what kind of veneer. Like you can have a crotch mahogany veneer that has a lot of detail.
That's
it.
That's the picture.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Looks like it's a tiger oak maybe, but the veneer is not the issue. It's what is the finished product going to look like. Something like that piece, because there's so many smooth, as you said, there's smooth, there's not any detail or carvings. I would do cracked patina.
Would you?
Yep. I would use cracked patina on that because it's more of a empire style based on those legs and pedestals.
I want to show, this is what, can y'all see? This is the question. This is her piece that she's talking about. So her question is, she knows it's a veneer. As far as what kind of finish to do on it, and because it's fairly simple. Yeah, I might agree with Jean. Wait,
I get it. Would you repeat that into the recorder, please?
I didn't say you were right. I said
I agree. That means
I
I'm
agreed
right.
with you. I agree with him.
Okay.
So I would do a cracked patina finish. So all right. So we have another question by Jennifer Patia. Can we use one-step
Padilla.
paint or what?
It could be Padilla.
Padilla. I don't know. It's a beautiful name. Can we use one-step paint, gesso, milk paint, gesso, and a different milk color?
Yes, but you don't have to use the gesso in between the colors. You can use the one-step, gesso, milk paint color, distress, do another milk paint color.
Yes, and distress. Yes. So you don't, okay, so I want to explain to people that I thought you were going to write it done. Write it. Okay.
Right,
so guys, like with Jennifer's question is about milk paint. So like normally you would not put milk paint on, stop.
Oh, what?
Stop.
What?
I am married to a 10-year-old boy, people. It's like he knows we're on camera. Okay, stop. Behave.
I'm not doing anything.
So the question is, with milk paint, normally you cannot put milk paint directly on top of a finish that, like a lacquer or a varnish finish,
Because
it doesn't bind.
Right.
So we tell people as a primer to put on the one-step paint first. And so then when you put the one-step paint on first, Then you can come back on top of it with the milk paint. And the cracked gesso actually only cracks milk paint. It will create small fissure cracks and will allow it to kind of lift when you antique it. So to answer your question, yes, use the one-step paint first as your base coat. Basically, that gets your surface on anything pretty much, because you know the one-step paint can go on almost anything. It can go on resin, plastic, melamine, lacquer, glass, anything. So, and then you can go and put the milk paint on top of it. And then if you want to crack the milk paint, you use the cracked gesso. So you can go to my YouTube channel, and I have directions on that. All right, so did we get that one? Mm-hmm. Okay. And yes, I would do a different color. Now, let me just say this. When you are layering colors, it's best to go from light to dark. So they're definitely misbehaving.
Oh, they're behaving.
Totally. They know mom and dad are busy doing something, so they're misbehaving. So you want to make sure you go from dark to light. So you'll start with a light gray, and you're going to go into your darker grays. You don't want to go with a darker color one-step paint and then go to a lighter color milk paint, because it has a tendency to look like melted milk balls. Mm-hmm. Okay. So wait. What was that? But do you antique one using a stencil? Okay. Rachel Sanda, can milk paint be applied to a stained with milk paint binder added, or do I need to paint it with one step first? So funny, because we just got through talking about that. You want to answer that question?
Can I to a stained with milk paint binder?
To like an existing stain finish.
Oh, well, here's the deal. Is the wood stained, and then there's no other coating other than the stain? In other words, there's not a lacquer, not a varnish.
Let's just say there's a varnish.
So if there is some type of clear coat, like a lacquer, a varnish, a polyurethane, whatever, then yes, you can use the milk paint with a binder, and the binder will adhere to that clear coat. So there is not a need to use the one-step paint first.
Okay, hold on. Jamie's saying I have a question, but it's way up the line. Jamie, ask us the question again then.
There it is.
Oh.
I think we found it, Jamie.
I think, did we answer this last time?
May have. That was October 7th.
October 7th?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Jamie, if you want to, you can ask the question. Do you have to seal stain, Jean? Connie's asking, do you have to seal stain?
Where do you see that question?
It was just right up here.
Oh.
Trust me.
Do you have to seal stain? If you want to protect
like our gel stain.
Yes, if you want to protect the wood, yes. The gel stain does not have any type of binder or anything in it that would act as like a polyurethane or anything that would act as a sealer. So anything you put on that wood that would be like a wet glass or something like that, it's going to leave a ring, it's going to stain, it's going to mar the finish of that stain. So yes, you would have to seal it with something.
Okay. So another question is, what color, this is from Valentina Selezneva.
Selezneva. What a beautiful name. Selezneva.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Which color is most popular for an off-white, not stark, white and not yellowish ivory?
Well, if you're speaking of the one-step paint, our ballet white is one, and another one is the Bauhaus buff.
Bauhaus buff, number one.
Yeah.
Number one, is it wild?
Yeah.
We introduced 100 colors.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say is our number one selling color?
Tutti Frutti.
We don't have a Tutti Frutti.
Oh, that's right. I guess Bauhaus Buff.
Bauhaus Buff. It's Bauhaus Buff.
Yeah.
It is such a great color. It's not a stark white. The whitest white we have is a ballet white, but Bauhaus Buff goes with everything.
Yeah, but
it's really beautiful.
But keep in mind, ballet white is not it's not a sterile hospital white.
No.
It is an off-white.
It is.
But it is the whitest of our whites.
But Valentina, I would say that the Bauhaus Buff would be your best bet. Okay, Lori has a question. I have a home on the West Coast in Oregon, so the weather can be pretty harsh. We are not directly on the beach, but we get a lot of wind and rain. Oh, they're directly on the beach. Does it make you sad?
And there's also probably a lot of rain that goes along with that.
Lori, I just have to tell you, Gene was a surfer growing up. He went to FIT and he grew up surfing. So when he hears about somebody on the beach, he gets really jealous.
Oh, yeah, but pretty weather, though, to go along with it.
He likes pretty weather, but he loves to surf.
Can I paint my front door with one step? It has a covered porch, but still gets a fair amount of moisture. So how should I say that? Yes, you can. You can paint your front door with one step.
Clean slate it first.
Yes, clean slate it really well to get all the debris and everything off from the weather. And then use the one-step paint. And then to seal it, the best thing to use is it's going to be an oil-based, water-clear, UV protective polyurethane. And that's what you'll need because the UV will help prevent the color from changing from the sun. Water clear keeps it from yellowing over time. And then the oil-based polyurethane is just very durable for that kind of weather. So you want to use an oil-based, water clear, UV protectant polyurethane. And you can get that at any paint store.
Okay, Jamie has a question on here. I have the matte sealer, but I want a durable sheen to the top.
A durable sheen.
The matte sealer actually has a little bit of a sheen, and it's durable.
Yeah,
There is a polyurethane finish to that, and
it's
Jamie, that really ought to be durable enough. All right, Renee. Sweet Renee, do I need anything to prep a stained piece before using the gel stain? To the current finish is a satin sheen.
So are you saying there is a clear coat
I
over
think so.
that? So, yes, you want to use clean slate. And then you would want to use a thin coat of the gel stain. Now keep in mind, when you have an existing clear coat on your piece of furniture and you add the gel stain does not penetrate the wood because the clear coat prevents it, so it's laying on top. So you just want to use a thin coat. And then when the gel stain, you will need to put a clear coat on top of that, such as the matte sealer.
And the problem that a lot of people, not a problem, a mistake maybe some people make with the gel stain is they think a little bit is good, but a whole lot is better. That's not the case. It is a gel stain, and the part of the reason in that is because there were two things I hated about stain. I hated the fact that that's a strong word, and I'm sorry, but they were really, the odor was strong with regular stains, and they were really thin. And if I'm working on a vertical surface, I like to have more of a gel stain. Can you thin the gel stain down? Yes, you can. And sometimes it's a good thing to do that. But the problem that we have seen, the gel stain can be incredibly transformative. So let's say you have an oak piece. You can come on top of that oak piece with our walnut stain, which is a really deep, rich brown, and it can totally transform it. But you don't want to put it on too thick. And then I would suggest coming back and you kind of apply it and then wipe it off. And then
or brush it out.
Model it or brush it out.
You can brush it out.
Tell
as
people
well.
what that looks what does that look like when we say brushing out stain on a finish? What do you mean by that?
What you can do is,
and what kind of brush would you use?
we have a wedge brush, so for the brushing out, or you can use our 2-inch round hog hair brush, either one. And after you apply it, you brush it out because that way it leaves a little bit more on your surface than if you took a rag and tried to wipe on, wipe off. It's going to remove, that rag's going to remove a lot more than the brush will. But keep in mind, you don't want to apply the gel stain as though it's a paint.
Right.
It's not a paint,
No.
so you're not painting it on
No.
with a thick coat trying to cover the entire surface
Yes.
to where it changes the color totally like paint does. It's not a paint. You'll end up getting cracking and lifting and flaking.
It's a stain.
It's a stain.
And it's pretty amazing. It smells amazing. It's water based. It has no VOCs. You can clean it up with soap and water. It spoils you in how you work with stains.
It looks like we got time for maybe 2 more questions.
Okay, hold on. I wanted to see there was another one. Can you explain the Meg Made Paint? I'm having a hard time explaining it to people. Okay, so Connie, Meg and her sweet husband, Joe, have been clients and friends of ours for many, many years. And she has a place in Chicago where they rescue furniture and they paint it. And so we are manufacturing for Meg and Joe under the Amy Howard at Home brand. But the colors for Meg Made are ones that Meg and Joe picked out that they do on their pieces.
Exclusively
so
for
they're
Meg.
exclusively for Meg. Does that explain that? So she sells it in her store, and I can't share too much, but more to come on that. It's very exciting.
Loose lips sink ships.
Yes, loose lips sink ships. Gene Howard is sitting here right with me. Y'all know me. If I was by myself, I would tell you, but because he's here, I can't. Okay. I'm bad. Let me see. Renee painted her upper kitchen cabinets in Bauhaus. Renee, you should share it. Guys, and I'll just use this as a promo.
Before and after.
Join the before and after group. What a great group. Oh, I can say this. I think I can say this. In November, we are having what's called a kitchen cabinet transformation summit. And we are literally, it's going to be a 6-hour extravaganza that we are going to be taking you through all these different influencers and people that paint furniture, to where we're going to show you how to paint kitchen cabinets, how to do it in a milk paint finish, how to be able to glaze them, how to do your countertops, how to do your backsplashes, how to paint your floors. And all these different people are going to be walking you through the process. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see a lot of kitchens, but it's going to be a lot of really pertinent information that I think you're going to find is very helpful. Okay, let me see. All right. Michelle's asking, what is the longest time I can wait after applying wax to do the first buff?
As long as you want. Because the longer you allow it to dry, the better and easier and quicker it'll buff up.
Right.
So,
a lot of people don't allow wax long enough to dry, do they?
No. I mean, if you wait 30, 45 minutes, that's fine. If you want to wait 3 or 4 hours, that's okay too.
Can you please give us tips and tricks for using clean slate? Rebecca's asking.
You want to use a clean cotton rag, and you want to soak the rag to the point of not where it's dripping, but that it's very damp, and you just start wiping off whatever surface you're wanting to clean. Keep in mind you need to turn that rag too, because what'll happen is you're lifting up that oil, grease, grime that's on the surface. It's penetrating the rag, and you don't want to end up just smearing it around, so you have to turn the rag over. And if it's a big surface like the top of a dining room table, you may have to use more than one rag to get it all off.
Jeannie's asking, can you paint one step over an oil paint on kitchen cabinets?
True.
I love it when people ask this question.
True.
Yes, you can. Yes, it's fabulous.
Use clean slate first.
Yes.
Make sure there's no grease, grime, oil, polish, anything like that on the existing, and then
Paint away.
Paint away. Or spray.
Or you could spray.
You can get a paint sprayer and you can spray one step.
And let's just tell everybody this as far as a caveat, and you're so good about this, and maybe I need to grab him on Friday and say, come here again and let's just show everybody how to paint this. But
show me the money.
So when they're going in and they're painting their kitchen cabinets and they have oil on them, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, and I love it when these old guys will go, you can't put water base on top of oil. Yes, you can.
One step.
You can with ours.
Yes,
Now, ours is not a glorified acrylic paint. There's so many companies out there that just have flattening agents in a glorified acrylic paint. Ours is nothing like that. The quality of it, especially in our new formula, it has a self-leveling in it. It's beautiful. But what do you find from a customer service standpoint? What do people try to do when they're painting their kitchen cabinets on that first coat?
Put too much.
They put too much on.
It's better to use two, and even sometimes, especially if you're doing, if you're using a light color one-step paint and you're painting dark brown cabinets, it may take 2 to 3 coats, but it's better to apply thinner coats than thicker because it adheres better, it dries faster, it lays smoother. You'll just be more pleased with the finished product.
It's so fun. It's so fun. You know, and kitchen cabinets now are all about color. Let me see. A couple more questions. It's like I see these people and I want to help them. I know, and we have to, okay. And we'll answer that. Let's do this one and then we'll do this one. Okay. What is the best way to remove cerusing wax from raw oak so I can start over and stain the piece?
Ooh, well, your clean slate will remove it, but when it's raw oak like that, you're going to have to use something to get that up. And I wouldn't be opposed to using a wire brush, because what's happened is that cerusing wax has gotten down into the grain. And so even though the clean slate will break that up, you're also going to have to get that out of the grain. So to use a wire brush, preferably a brass bristle wire brush, and go over that lightly with the grain. With the grain, absolutely. And to get that out and come back, and keep in mind that's probably going to rough the wood up just a little bit. So before you start over and stain the piece, you want to lightly sand it with some 220 grit or some 320 grit.
Okay.
Well, because that's a light enough grit that it's not going to leave scratch marks in the raw wood. So a 220, 320 grit, I refinish furniture. Is that way it smooths that out before you go back and do the stain on it.
Okay. All right, and then we're going to answer this question, then we got to go. Because the whole point when I asked him to do this was that it would only be 30 minutes long. And I don't know about y'all, but he's hangry. Like, he hasn't had supper. And so he's like, I'm hungry. Do any of you guys, I see a lot of women's name on here. There may be men and women. Does your man get hangry when he hasn't eaten? Okay, so the question...
Is that a combination between hungry and angry?
Yes.
Angry?
It is. You get hangry.
Okay.
I can't talk to you until you've had your food. Okay, so Jennifer Park asked, how do you clean your brushes? I know to use clean slate, but do you take them outside with the hose, or do you use the sink indoors? And also, do you wash the used rags that have clean slate on them in the washer, or do you throw them away? There's a strong odor.
That's a good question. All right, first one, cleaning your brushes. What's on the brush? If the brush has water-based product like one-step paint
gel
or
stain,
cracked patina or gel stain, you want to just use warm water with some little bit of dishwashing detergent, because the dishwashing detergent it conditions the bristles in the brush, and you can do that in the sink. If you're using an oil-based product like the waxes and you want to clean the waxes, yes, you can use a clean slate. The best thing to do is to
You have to use clean slate
yeah, well, you
for
can
the wax, for the wax
to
brushes.
remove the wax, and you can put that in like a little Tupperware container and brush it out. I wouldn't do it down the sink, and I certainly wouldn't wash the rags in a washing machine because the clean slate is a solvent based, and there's so many plastic parts now in washing machines. I would hate for the clean slate to ruin that. So you would not want to do that. You want to dispose of them according to the local EPA. EPA has certain restrictions and directions of how to dispose of solvent-based products. So best to check with your local EPA for that.
I just have to see this question, and I know we have to get off, but I have a hard time painting well with your synthetic brushes. Tips besides borrowing Jean?
Well, I mean, hard time painting. I don't know what the problem is.
I would imagine she's probably saying about brush strokes. I'm just going to tell you, you remember the cabinet door that you painted?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was in My Dragon, or it was a darker blue. And you laid that on, you put 2 coats, and it was smooth as could be.
You're going to get, with a chalk-based paint, especially with ours, we don't put a bunch of artificial ingredients in there for leveling agents. We do have something in there now that will, slow the drying time down so that it flows out better. But it's just hard to get away from any brush strokes unless you put a ton of artificial ingredients that are high in VOCs, which we're against on that. I'll tell you a little secret that you can do, but you got to follow these directions explicitly, that after that first coat dries and dries well within, say, an hour to 2 hours, you can use some 220 grit sandpaper. The caveat is you've got to wear a dust mask, and I'm talking about a good N95 dust mask, which everybody should have one now with COVID, so it's not like you're having to go out and buy a new one. And because you don't want to be breathing the dust particles from the sanding, and then brush off that.
You're just going like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, we were just trying that. And what that does, that levels, that takes those high spots in the brush marks and levels it down so that the second coat goes on smoother.
And I will tell you this, as far as when he paints, there's such a light touch to it. A lot of people put too much on their brush.
In fact,
they load up too much.
And two, you don't want to.
You're not going over it.
I
and
don't
over
paint
it.
over and over the same spot. I put my paint on again. We're not putting it on thick, and I'm not looking for coverage for the first coat. Mm-hmm. So I'm just putting it on and getting it on there and brushing it out, and the quicker the better.
I'll grab him and I'll do a Facebook Live and have him paint so everybody can watch him again. Will you do that for me?
Show me the money.
Anyway, all right. We went long. So sorry. We just wanted to be able to hop on here between 6:30 and 7 on Wednesday night, answer your questions. So send them in to customer care at Amy Howard at home, or you can put it on the Facebook group.
Support.
What did I say?
Customer care.
Support. Sorry. Customer support. At.
Not customer support. Support at amyhowardathome.com.
Okay, there you go. Tell them again. Where do they send their questions in?
Support at amyhowardathome.com.
All right, there you heard it. So you see the difference. Let's just tell them, in every marriage, we counseled couples for years. We taught a re-engage group and we counseled couples.
None of them are still together.
We said, in every marriage, there's a how person and a wow person. I'm the wow person.
Guess who's who?
Jean's the how. So we blend and we make one person, right?
Yes.
The nice thing about it is we enjoy. We love what we do. And we love the fact that we have such incredible customers like you guys. That's why we want to pour into you. That's why we want to be able to do these questions and answers. So send your questions in and we'll hop on here next Wednesday now that we have connection.
There we go.
So great. Thank you for your patience. We love you guys. Have a great Wednesday.
Bye. Good night.